Hi guys, welcome to Leicester Fan TV, the away fan chat show. As Leicester travel to Naples to take on Serie A side Napoli in the second game and the very last game of the Europa League group games. A win for the Foxes will take them top of the group, but it's going to be very difficult to surpass a Napoli side who's also favourites to win the competition. Get your comments in, guys. Get your views in. Obviously, there's been a COVID/illness outbreak at the football club. Brendan has confirmed. So we'll talk about that. I'll be joined by Joe Fischetti from Napoli, a fan. So I'll get his views on all things Napoli, the injury side of it, who's going to be playing for them, and who's going to be the main man who could affect Leicester City. I mean, zonal marking. That's something Napoli will really look at. Guys, as always, smash a like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. If you're watching on Facebook, smash a like. If you're watching on YouTube, smash a like, push that notification button, and obviously subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, wherever you can find it, Leicester Fan TV. Please do so. We are live quite a lot of the week. We're live tonight for the away fan show. Tomorrow a bit of watch along as Leicester travel to Naples to take on Napoli. Reedy will be back on Friday with the show as Leicester take on the Magpies Newcastle at home at the King Power Stadium. Sunday will be the aftermath show with Jamie at 10 o'clock to talk where it went right and wrong for Leicester City against Napoli. So get your coffees ready and your teas for that and put your feet up on Sunday. Wrap up warm because it is absolutely freezing cold. And then the watch along, obviously, with Elijah and Michael from 1:30 if you can't make it to the game. But it's also obviously live on Sky Sports. But if you can't watch it on Sky Sports, fill into the watch along and join the boys for a fantastic debate. Right, guys, one thing to do then. Let's get cracking with this show, shall we? Let's get a show on the road. See you in a minute.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, and welcome to Leicester Fan TV. If you're just joining me, guys, smash a like, join the debate live. If you've got anything to ask Joe about Napoli, be sure to do so. Ask him. Let's get a few good evenings in then. Kevin Robinson, hello. Evening Maz. Evening LCFC Grey. Evening. Oh no, COVID has struck the camp. It has. It's obviously been confirmed. 7 players haven't travelled. Have the injury COVID hit players have been announced? Yes, they have. Ross, how are you? Hope our trip to Naples, well, at least for one night. Forget about the bad form, Ross. Evening, Millie, how are you? Great, if we can possibly defend. Evening, Jack. Do you know who's not travelling? I will tell you that in a minute. Evening. Evening, Ross. Koulibaly in January. Well, a very must-win game tomorrow. It's a massive game, guys. If Leicester win, well, we can win the group. If we draw in Legia Warsaw and Spartak Moscow draw, same happens. But it's going to be, no doubt, a tough game. None of them will be missed. Well, Insignia can hurt us badly if we don't keep them under wraps. Well, Napoli have got injuries themselves. Herditz, Kelechi and Amati from the main team. Are you going on Sunday? If so, it's your round at the Blues Bar. Well, we'll talk about that on Sunday, Andy. Hope you're well, though, mate. Adam Lucas, hello. Evening, Karen. Evening, Matty. Not all COVID, some have illness. Yes, true. True, Patrick Hook. Let's talk about it then. This COVID/illness hits the Foxes before Napoli. Adamo Lutman, Daniel Amati, Kelechi Iheanacho, Yannick Vestergaard, Jose Perez, Benkovic, and Daley Campbell are the players who's got COVID/illness. So they'll be missing from this one, and maybe some fixtures in the near future like Newcastle, Everton and Tottenham coming up. Obviously Tottenham's been hit with a massive outbreak of COVID, but it's not been confirmed who from Antonio Conte, so keep your eyes peeled for next game. Evening Jack, evening Andy, evening Jack. Defence needs to be 100% tomorrow. It does. Well, I think Brendan obviously didn't mention Cags for that defending against Aston Villa, picking up his man and that, but you know he was talking about. To be honest, only Kells will be missed. Other strikers are either hit and miss this season or do not get a sniff in the team. Yeah, Brendan Rodgers doesn't play Nacho, so really doesn't matter. Casper, not on the list. He could not catch anything. Well, I'm watching Leicester tomorrow at the local hero. Yes, Leicester City kick off 6:45 UK time. If you want to watch Leicester tomorrow on BT Sport. Oh my God, not another COVID party. Well, last time round it was a COVID party. Perez, Maddison, Hamza Chowdhury. Well, it wasn't the best scenes for Leicester, and obviously they got dropped for that West Ham game. If I remember rightly, Napoli have a few injuries as well. They do. Let's talk quickly about Leicester then. This zonal marking tomorrow. We really need to kick on and go man for man, really. It's something Brendan has said in his press conference after the game that things need to be sorted out. And the only man who can do that is Brendan Rodgers. 5:45, pal. Yes, 5:45, sorry. That's if you're in Italy, it'd be 6:45. In the UK, it's 5:45. Yeah, so the Aston Villa game wasn't great, was it? Another defeat for the Foxes on the road. We didn't really give up much of a fight in that second half, did we really? Barnes had that great chance. Perez had another header. Barnes obviously scored, but we just looked deflated, didn't we, after conceding that early second half goal? Yes, a very good save, Kevin Robinson. Guys, if you're watching, smash a like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV. If you're watching tonight, it'd be really much appreciated. And where do we go from here then? What needs to change at Leicester City Football Club? You tell me in the comments. And who needs dropping? For me, I'd say Cags needs dropping. I don't see why Amati has been dropped. I think he's been our best defender this season, without a shadow of a doubt. Don't know how defenders have caught COVID. They even socially distanced at corners. Well, that's one. Just waiting half a pint. Signori, littlest guy on the pitch, score with on a header from a corner tomorrow. Well, I bloody well hope not. What do you think of the COVID passports for sport? Well, something's got to give, hasn't it, at the end of the day? It all needs doing. Cags hasn't been the same since the Euros. He hasn't. Sack off Colo Torres, sack off zonal marking. I agree with you 100%. We need Lega and Spartak to draw tomorrow, then we will go through no matter what I think. Well, good news, Tillemans is back. Yes, Yuri Tillemans has travelled to Napoli, so that's a massive boost. If you've missed him, hopefully he'll feature tomorrow. And hopefully we'll get that good push, what we need. We are missing Fofana, we are. Cags just doesn't seem the Turkish delight this season. Hard to beat Leicester, high press and get corners. Yes, if you get in our faces, we don't know what to do. Obviously, that happened against Aston Villa. They worked hard in that second half, did Villa. They got in our faces and we just didn't know how to handle it. The pressure got to us. But we're too slow to come out from the back. Uncle Albert running once more for Leicester City at the back. Then 5-yard passes, at least take a gamble to get the ball in tight spaces. If you don't gamble it, you don't know what's going to happen. But we seem to be getting it and then going backwards. I mean, Lutman should be running it his man enough. Cags ain't good enough. Evening the council, big game tomorrow, especially Brendan. It is a massive game. Before you guys get on my back, I am Brendan Rodgers in. I will admit that live. I'm Brendan in. I really think he can turn it around. We just need to back the boys, get behind them, and let's push them on from start to finish, starting from tomorrow. I think where it's gone wrong with Leicester is we always selling our world-class players to beat teams in the league rather than retaining them. So you're calling Harry Maguire a world-class centre-back, are you? I mean, £80 million. That was the biggest rip-off in history, especially from a Man United perspective. Let's get our guest in then, Joe Fischetti. Joe, how are you, mate?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, pleasure, pal. Leicester take on Napoli then, 5:45 tomorrow on BT Sport. Joe, are you looking forward to this one?
I am. I'm always looking forward to any Napoli games. We'll get on to the injuries, but first and foremost, I'm hoping we don't lose any more players because we're also competing this season for the Scudetto in Serie A. So want to see a good game, but mostly want to see no injuries.
Yeah. Tell us about Napoli this season then, Joe. Where has it gone right for Napoli and where has it gone wrong in certain games?
So where it's gone right, first and foremost, was that we hired Luciano Spalletti to take over as the manager. He replaced Gennaro Gattuso, who did fairly well. Gattuso was brought in really just to right the ship after we had a mutiny a couple of seasons ago under Ancelotti. He did so well. He won the Coppa Italia during that season that they kept him on for an additional year. And things were going fairly well at the start of the year. And then we started picking up injury after injury by just about this time of the year. And his relationship with Aurelio De Laurentiis, the owner, was damaged beyond repair. So it was, even if Napoli qualified for the Champions League, which was our goal at last season, he was probably going to be out the door. We bring in Luciano Spalletti, who's much more tactically astute than Gattuso was. And we had a great start to the season. We went unbeaten in the first 11 or 12 games, and then the injury bug hit us again. And we started dropping points recently. And as much as you don't like to make excuses, and Spalletti certainly isn't, you have to attribute some of those drop points to the injuries.
Yep. Let's talk about last time round then, Joe. Leicester 2-2 draw. Leicester were 2-0 up. How did Napoli change it then that after Harvey Barnes scored? What was Spalletti would have been thinking at that moment in time when that second goal went in? Would he have believed that Napoli had got back into it, or would he just have took a gamble to see what had happened?
No, I think he believed that the team could get back into it. One of the big things with Spalletti is he's all about instilling a winning culture, a winning mentality at this club. And that's been a big downfall in recent years, where in the past, had we gone down one goal, let alone two, the game would be over. But Spalletti's been hammering this point home. He's been talking up his players and how good they are, how much depth we are. So while no one expected us, including Napoli fans, to come back from that 2-0 deficit, it is something that's more expected from a Spalletti team. And then, of course, when you have a player like Victor Osimhen, he's the type of player that can make something like that happen. I don't know that we would have pulled that off without him.
How much did you spend on Victor Osimhen, Joe?
This is a hotly contested topic these days because I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a big investigation going on in Italy right now. And this transaction was one of them. And there's like 42 Juventus transactions, which is, our bitter enemies. So we're not too shocked about that. But the way the deal was structured was it was 50 million in cash, 20 million in players, our third string goalkeeper, and then a handful of Primavera players, 3 or 4 of them, and then up to 10 million in bonuses.
Yeah. He obviously scored the 2 goals, didn't he? Victor Osimhen in the first leg against Leicester in the first game. 2 mistakes from Leicester, really, wasn't it, Joe? The first one, Yannick Vestergaard, and then the second one, I mean, when you cross a ball in like that and you don't track your man, you allow him to get into the cross. Osimhen's one of them who's going to be on the end of it, isn't he, for them sort of headers, which obviously he duly obliged and got that point that Napoli needed when they could have ended up getting nothing. Let's have a look at last time out in the Europa League then. Obviously, Leicester went and beat Legia Warsaw 3-1 at the King Power Stadium. What happened to Napoli, Joe? I mean, they don't seem to be great in the Europa League this season, do they? Obviously, you've lost twice now to Spartak Moscow, haven't you, home and away?
Yes, and the main reason for it is because Spalletti is rotating quite a few players. He's making 5 or 6 changes to the regular starters. So that's why I'm not too disappointed with those results. As much as we want to advance out of the group stage and win the group and not have to play those 2 additional matches, he's also being mindful of the fact that we're playing every 3 or 4 days. And we've still been hit with an injury crisis. So, he's trying to balance the squad a little bit. And then at least in this most recent match against Spartak, we already had quite a few significant injuries with players missing. So, because even then we had some COVID cases as well. So some of the players that have now come back were not available for that match.
Yes, the councillor says here a bit harsh. Jack Osman was a handful throughout the game in the first leg. He was. Napoli took the game to Leicester, didn't they? After Perez scored, they showed their quality. They could have had about 4 or 5 goals in that first half, having Leicester not defended. Let's have a look at Napoli's last game then. You guys lost 3-2 to Atalanta at home. How did that match go for you, Joe, watching it as a Napoli supporter?
It was, obviously you're disappointed with the loss, but for anyone who follows Serie A, you would know that Atalanta is a fine team. I mean, even now, they used to be Italy's best kept secret, but that's no longer a secret with Atalanta playing in the Champions League the last 2 years and reaching the semifinals, I believe it was. They've been in fine form lately as well. I think they've won something like 11 of their last 12 matches, or they've now won 5 in a row for sure. So with all of the, and I know I keep repeating all the injuries, but it's the main reason for everything. But we had such a short squad that Napoli fans weren't expecting a competitive match, and our B team actually made it very competitive. We actually had a 2-1 lead before Atalanta stormed back and scored twice in the final, say, half an hour of the match. And that's a bit of a cause for concern, because the prior match against Sassuolo, we had a 2-0 lead, and the same thing happened where we conceded 2 goals and we ended up drawing that match. So, players are getting tired, and we've been dropping some points lately.
Let's talk about the big injury crisis then, Joe, at Napoli. Koulibaly, Manolas, Insigne. Are there any more players apart from them 3 key players? Obviously, Osmian as well. How many other players are going to be missing come tomorrow evening, Joe?
A lot of players. So you mentioned Osimhen. He had surgery on his face to repair some fractures. He's gone at least until January and then AFCON. Koulibaly is out with a thigh strain. He's gone until January. Frank Zambo-Anguissa, who Premier League fans might remember from his time at Fulham, which he was pretty good there, but he's been excellent for Napoli since we signed him in the summer. He also has a thigh strain, I believe, it's a torn adductor. So that's the spine of our team, right down the middle: center forward, center midfielder, center defender. And then we lost Fabian Ruiz with the thigh strain. Lorenzo Insigne looks like he's not going to come back for this match, at least with a calf strain. And then we had Stanislav Lobotka, who was playing quite well, covering for Anguissa while Diego Demme had COVID. And he picked up a blunt trauma to his hamstring. So they're all out. Manolas is probably going to be back in the squad, but he hasn't played since late September. So I doubt he'd be in the starting 11. And then we have 2 players, like even some of the players that are in the squad, Diego Demme, Matteo Politano, they just recently came back from COVID. Demme, over the 3 matches since he came back, has played, I think, 60, 70 minutes, something like that. Politano has played about half an hour in the 2 matches since he came back. So it's a really depleted squad.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of injuries. I mean, obviously Leicester's been hit with this COVID outbreak and that / illness. Iheanacho missing tomorrow. Adamo Lutman, Daniel Amate, Jose Perez. It affects our starting 11 and obviously the bench as well to make the numbers up. Obviously,
would you expect with what's his name? You just mentioned him, Lukman. Sorry.
Yes, Lutman. Yeah.
Would you expect Patson Daka to shift over to the right and Vardy play at the 9, like we saw sort of at the end of the Villa match?
I think with Patson Daka, it's the case that he's a striker and not a winger. Yes, he's got the pace to set players on, but he isn't that sort of out-wide sort of player. I mean, Vardy and Daka, you had to play them as a 2. I don't think you can play Daka as a winger, because when you play Jose Perez as a winger, you don't get much out of him. If you play Perez down the middle, then as a centre attacking midfielder, you get more out of him. He shows his qualities and that. Daka the same. If you play him as a 2 and you've got players up there with him to help him out, he scores goals. I mean, if you watched him against Spartak Moscow, he obviously had Maddison playing the ball through Tillemans. They all played their part, and obviously he got 4 goals in that game. But I think with Leicester, we're never really a team who likes to play 2 up front. So I think that's something
I'm just
we're going to
wondering,
be looking at
even
tomorrow.
if you play with the 4-2-3-1,
Yeah,
who plays on the right wing with all these guys, with a Yosi out, with Lukman out. That's what, because I was looking at the squad and I was looking at who you typically start in those positions, and that's why I was wondering if Daka would be the guy, because I can't really figure out who else steps up.
I think with Leicester, obviously Lukman being out tomorrow and Perez, I think it's going to be Mark Albrighton. Barnes will obviously play left wing, but right wing will obviously be Mark Albrighton, as Ricardo's out as well. So it makes it difficult. I think Ricardo would have played there. But I mean, Albrighton will obviously fill in tomorrow, and obviously fill in for the foreseeable future, depending if Lukman is a illness or COVID. Hello, Anthony. How are you? Yes, I'm good. Can we just play 9-a-side? Well, football doesn't work that way, does it? It only goes as the 5-a-side, unless you start getting players sent off for us. Didn't realise we had a COVID outbreak. Yes. It's something that's... How is COVID out where you are, Joe? How has it affected people and that, and obviously the football as well?
Well, in Italy, I mean, I think it's been, I want to say perhaps a little bit more under control, because they're still not full capacity at stadiums. I think they're still at 75%. And I mean, teams are getting cases. We're now getting to that phase, I guess. I'm sure it's the same with Leicester, where even people that are vaccinated are now catching it, right? It's like all of the recent cases. We have one more case with one of he's a youth player that's sort of called up every now and then, and he's still positive, but it's all 3 guys are fully vaccinated. So it seems like it's, it can't be avoided sometimes.
May have to use Albrighton, as Jack says, yes. Sean asks, Joe, who is your favourite Napoli player then? It could be a legend, it could be anybody, it could be in the current squad. Who do you have your soft spot for then?
So the typical answer would be Maradona, obviously, with Napoli fans. But for me, it's Koulibaly, without a doubt. He's just a legend at the club. And I saw a comment on here that you guys are going to buy him in January. I hope not. I know, for the right price, we probably would sell him, but I hope we never, ever do. And I don't know if it would be a wise purchase, because he's probably going to go to AFCON too, so he won't be back until February, I imagine. But definitely Koulibaly.
Yep. Joe, team selection then. What 11 are we going to be looking at tomorrow then, from a Napoli perspective?
So it's interesting, because normally we also play a 4-2-3-1, but with all the injuries, for the first time at the weekend, Spalletti used a 3-4-3. And because we played on Saturday instead of Sunday with that extra day of rest, I think most of those guys will be pretty close to fully recovered. So I'm expecting the same squad with a couple of changes. I think we'll probably see Alex Meret starting goal over David Ospina, but that's right now I think it's a coin toss. Only because Meret has played every other Europa League game, but because of how big this match is, we may see Ospina get the start. For the 3 center backs, we'll probably see Amir Rachmani in the middle with Juan Jesus to his left and Giovanni Di Lorenzo from the Italian national team on the right. In the center of the midfield, Diego Demme will start over Lobotka, who got hurt in our last match, and he'll play alongside Piotr Zielinski. Mario Rui, who's typically a left back, will play on the left side of the midfield, most likely, and Kevin Malqui, who's our backup right back, but he's very pacey, he's very quick. He will likely play on the right side of the midfield. And then the front 3, it all depends on, there's a few options there. We could see, at the weekend, we saw Eli Felmas play on the left wing. He's a bit of a utility player. He can play in a number of different positions, and that could affect your starting 11. But I think we're going to see Chucky Lozano shift over to the left, Matteo Politano to start for his first start since returning from COVID on the right, and then Dries Mertens at striker.
Still a good side. It's no like worry. You know what I mean? I mean, Leicester's biggest worry is zonal marking in set pieces. I mean, if you've got any big players, Joe, tomorrow in that starting 11, even Dries Mertens could score the way Leicester defend from set pieces. Team selection from Leicester then. I think we're going to go with Timothy Castagno, Sionchu, Johnny Evans, and Luke Thomas. Schmeichel's obviously going to play in goal. I think we'll go as a 3 as Maddison, Wilfred Ndidi, and Samari. And then obviously you've got your front 3, haven't you? Barnes, Daka, and Vardy. I think that'll be ours tomorrow. But if Daka's not going to play, then I think Albrighton's going to fill in. So I think we'll play a 4-3-3 if Vardy's in the starting 11. Are there any questions you want to ask me, Joe? It's all about Leicester this season.
Well, I haven't watched Leicester all that much, so I'm curious to know just generally how you guys set up tactically, how you approach the match.
I wouldn't say we set up tactically at all. I mean, we play around the back a lot. We're too slow to come out. I mean, there's a thing in the UK called Only Fools and Horses. There's a character called Uncle Albert. I mean, Leicester play like that at times, too slow. When we play a 5-yard pass instead of a long ball, we seem to go back a lot. We seem to be one of them in the phrase of beat around the bush. If we've got an attack on, then we go backwards. I mean, Lutman's been doing that quite a bit this season, going back to Castagno. And it's been difficult to watch. I mean, tomorrow we need to go attack. We need to set up right. Jamie Vardy needs to be in on it as well. And we need to attack Napoli because we're top of the group at the minute and we can't afford to lose. One of us, even if we draw tomorrow and then Spartak go and win, I mean, it's going to be difficult because Napoli will finish 3rd and Leicester finish 2nd and then Spartak finish top. I mean, what have you made of the group this season, Joe, from a Napoli perspective? I mean, did any of the Napoli fans, do you feel, wrote off Spartak Moscow and Legia Warsaw coming into this competition at all?
Well, I think we definitely expected to win those matches. When you look at how those clubs are performing in their domestic competitions, they're far at the bottom. But then on the flip side, you can say that, you know, they seem to be performing better in the Europa League. Maybe they're making that a higher priority now. But for a team like Napoli that's gotten used to playing regularly in the Champions League up until the last couple of seasons, we felt that we should have been top 2 in this group, knowing that Leicester was in the competition.
Yeah, Yuri Tillemans, Leicester fans, has travelled. He's been a big miss in that midfield. Obviously, he's been out injured, played every game. He's never really got a rest. He will be lethal if we do start him tomorrow, but I can see Yuri starting on the bench and then bringing him on gradually. Have you watched much of Yuri Tillemans, Joe, from a other fan perspective, like a neutral?
Not really, if I'm being honest. I'm so focused on Serie A that I don't watch too many other because I also cover the youth team, the women's team, so it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for other leagues. Yeah,
that's fun.
One thing I will tell you that I'm most concerned about. I know I see, you know, in the comments. Well, one, I'm in Canada, not in the US. For anyone interested, in Toronto. Corner kicks. It's funny because this is kind of like the unstoppable force against the unmovable object, except for all the wrong reasons, where it seems like Leicester are clearly, from the comments, not very good at defending corner kicks, and Napoli are notoriously terrible at executing them. So we've always been a very short team, which doesn't help. And, you know, we're a lot better at set pieces now under Spalletti's come up with some really creative stuff, but in the past we've been very, very poor from set pieces. It's funny that you mentioned, you know, the slowness and playing back a lot. That was Napoli style, definitely under Gattuso. And I can appreciate the frustration that fans might have with that because we wanted our team to get forward more. And one thing to look out for Napoli in this match is, even with our B team, we will press, we will pressure the ball and try to win the ball high up the field. And we love to keep possession and pass the ball quick passes. So that's something to watch out for. What I'm concerned about is the pace of guys like Daka or Vardy against some slow center backs and balls over the top.
Yeah. Who's going to be Napoli's most watched player then? Who will Leicester need to look out for then tomorrow, Joe?
I would say two guys that are both in fine form at the moment. One is Dries Mertens. He scored 5 goals since Osimhen got hurt. So that's in less than 4 matches, really. Three matches and then 1 appearance off the bench. So he's averaging something like a goal every 42 minutes he plays since Osimhen got hurt. And then the other player is Piotr Zielinski, who, even though he'll be lined up in the center of the midfield, he kind of plays as a 10. He likes to get into that left half space. So he's been picking up the slack in terms of the goal scoring and assisting as well. I think he has 4 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 or 6 matches as well.
What are your predictions then for Napoli this season, Joe, from a Napoli fan perspective?
In terms of the domestic competition, the goal for us still remains top 4. It's hard to not talk about competing for the Scudetto when you've been top of the table most of the season. And even with this recent run of form, all the points we've dropped in the last 5 games, we're still only 2 points off the top. So I would call that an outside goal, especially, if we can get through the break and get, say, into February still competing, then that will become the target. But for now, it's still top 4. In the Europa League, I have mixed feelings about it because we would love to win a trophy, obviously, just like you guys, especially in Europe. But at the same time, I don't want us to jeopardize Serie A in doing so. So that's why I've been okay with some of these results that haven't been great against Spartak, for example, because I know we're rotating and we're keeping the squad as fit as we can.
Yeah, that's fine. What's your score predictions then, Joe, for the Napoli-Leicester game?
This is so hard. I might have to tell you what I don't want more than what I do want. I mean, what I can tell you is I definitely do not want to draw because that would guarantee that we drop down into the Conference League. So not only are we still playing more games, it's in a lesser competition, with all due respect to people who like the Conference League, which I don't think there are many people that do. But I'm going to say, given this COVID crisis that you guys suddenly have, and given that we're playing at the Maradona, even though it won't be that full from what I understand, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Napoli win, which is a bit of an optimistic prediction, I would say.
That's great. Joe, before you go then, tell us where we can find you from a neutral fan perspective.
Absolutely. You can find my personal account. I'm on Twitter at Joe_Fischetti5. And you can find the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Forza Napoli Pod, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, Joe, thank you for coming on, pal, and good luck for the rest of the season after tomorrow.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on, and good luck to everyone as well.
Cheers, Joe. Thank you. That was Joe. Score predictions then, guys, for tomorrow's game. Come on. It's going to be a difficult game at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium out in Naples. It's going to be a difficult game for the Foxes. We need to pick up them set pieces and defend them corners. Come out more quicker from the back. We need to rocket up our arse more than anything else. Brendan needs to be tactically spot on tomorrow, I believe. And I really think we need to go all out and go and win that game, because if we win, we can avoid Dortmund and Barcelona. So that would be great. My prediction then, tomorrow, Napoli will win 3-0, but I hope we can get a draw. Oh, we don't want that. 3-0, Mr. Positive Sean. Thank you, mate. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Leicester win. I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to go Daka, Barnes, and James Maddison and Dries Mertens to score for Napoli. Thank you to everybody who has watched tonight, of course. If you're just joining me, then you can watch this on playback if you've missed it. You can watch it on playback. And obviously catch up with it all, talking to Joe, getting an insight into Napoli for tomorrow's game. Obviously, it's going to be a tough game, guys. A double for Daka tomorrow. Let's talk about Patson Daka quickly. Daka actually tomorrow. Daka against Villa then. How good was he? And let's talk about Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Should he start tomorrow's game in your opinion? And how good did he do in his start against Aston Villa? So 2 players to talk about then. Patson Daka and Dewsbury Hall. How did they both get on? Magnums, double Daka. Yeah. Thank you, Gray, for that. Let's quickly have a look then what's coming up on Leicester Fan TV then for the rest of the week. Tomorrow night, we've obviously got the watch along. And then Tom will be live after the watch along about 8 o'clock talking to Gallowgate Shots as Leicester take on Newcastle. So that'll be another match preview. Go in, check that out. Go and get comments in for Tom ahead of the weekend's game against Newcastle. Reedy's live on Friday, talking all things Leicester City. The Aftermath show on Sunday at 10 o'clock. So join Jamie for that. Get your questions in, get your cup of teas ready, wrap up warm. It's going to be a cold one. The watch along is on at 1:30. So if you're not at the King Power and you can't watch it on Sky Sports, go and support the lads. They obviously do an incredible job, and it'd be fantastic if you guys could do it. I'm watching Bayern Munich, Barcelona. KDH will be very good in time. I like him. Yeah, he reminds me of a young and up-in player. I think he's very good. KDH to start tomorrow. Daka did very well on Sunday. What does everyone else think? If we win/draw tomorrow and qualify, is everything okay? And the players and the manager forgiven for the poor performances? Guys, if it's all forgiven with what Craig says, then smash a like. Obviously, I'm going to back Brendan. I'm going to back the boys, get behind them. We need to take the rough with the smooth, Leicester fans. We're Leicester City, for God's sake. Things happen. Leicester City, we love it. And, we'll always love our club no matter what. Back the boys, push them on. They need you more than ever. So please do not give up on them. Let's hope Brendan can turn this around. I think he will, but that's my opinion. People might think different. I have to get behind my adorable club. Exactly. Get behind the boys on Sunday at Newcastle. Be loud and proud. Guys, next Saturday, we have got a special guest show. Myself, will be joined by Speedo Mick. We'll be talking about all his charity work and talking about Leicester versus Everton next Sunday. So join me for that. If you want to donate to Mick's charity, Speedo Mick's charity, the Speedo Mick Foundation, then I will put that in the comments next Saturday so you guys can donate to him. He's done incredible. He's obviously doing a lot of charity work this week and that, and he's doing an incredible job. Thank you, Gray. Who is the 7 players? Iheanacho, Lukman, Amati, Vestergaard, Benkovic. There's just a few of them. Rena. We are on BT Sports. BT Spurs game. Yeah. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching Leicester Fan TV. We're by the fans, for the fans. We love a debate, whether we agree with it or we don't. We're all football fans at the end of the day. We're all family at Leicester City. Get that in there. Let's all get behind the boys now. Let's push them on in that massive game tomorrow in Naples. Come on, Leicester. Let's go and get that win. Before I go, thank you to ADT, Hollogram, Tiger, Pizzeria, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, the Fox's Arms, Newby Co, and our chosen charity, Hope Against Cancer. Thank you to all the guys who sponsor us here at Leicester Fan TV. Bye, Rena B. Yep, come on, you Foxes. On next. No, we don't want none of that. Right, guys, I'm off. Good night to everybody. I want to thank you all for watching tonight. It's been a pleasure. Guys, smash a like, share, subscribe to Leicester Fan TV if you haven't already. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you to everyone who's watched tonight. Thank you every like, comment, and getting involved. I will see you tomorrow for the watch along as Napoli take on Leicester. Come on, you Foxes. This is Jack from Leicester Fan TV saying good night and see you tomorrow. Boom.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.